welcome to Pillows and Princesses. That was a really obnoxious hi. The show where the intro is different every time because I keep forgetting to write it down. But I'm Janie Eastman, and welcome to my sleepover. We are Role Models, a podcast where we primarily play TTRPGs, but sometimes we go on side quests where I build a blanket fort and invite over my favorite charming nerdy friends to discuss their favorite nerdy topics. And today, as I often do, I was thinking about my childhood. And what came to mind was Barbie Fairytopia. And when I thought fairies, I thought Sophia. And when Sophia thinks fairies, she thinks slutty boy fairies. But I think she should be able to speak for herself here. So why don't I hi, Sophia.
Hello,
Did
Jane.
I catch you at a bad time?
No, I was just stretching. It's
Oh, okay, yeah.
great.
That makes sense. Well, welcome. I'm glad that you were able to make it. I like your cute PJs. Very appropriate.
Thank you so much.
And-
I am very pleased with them.
They're very cute. I see here that you've brought some interesting things. Would you care to explain?
So we could just talk about fairy boys, or we could rank them. And I feel like that's a little bit more fun.
I agree.
So I have brought a popcorn bucket full of fairy and fairy adjacent, notice the asterisk, boyfriends for us to rank.
And sort, if you
And
will.
sort. They are all adult fairy men and
They are
fairy
all
adjacent
adult
men.
fairy
No kiddos
no
in this list.
kid
We're not
fairies.
making this gross.
And we will do fairy girlfriends maybe one day.
One day we will do fairy girlfriends. So I am also very excited to do this with you specifically because I am a big book talk girly.
You are a
That
book
is
talk
who
girly.
I am. I am a book talk girl. So there are a few book talk
Fellas.
fairy men in here, fairy boyfriends, that you probably won't know.
No.
And you have the option to either get a brief about these men from me that I can give you, or you can just go purely off of vibes, which I feel like will
Okay.
be the most fun.
Okay, I can go purely off of vibes. However, the book talk girls will kill me.
That's okay. I have some hot takes about some of the book talk men in here that I feel like might
So
get
maybe
me.
I'll place mine, and then
A
I'll
little
ask you what you think.
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
But why don't we get
The
into
first
it?
one out. Okay.
Let me get a little piece of tape ready.
We can take turns pulling these out too if we want.
Also, feel free and play along at home.
Yes.
Comment your choices.
Again, this is fairy adjacent.
Okay.
So the first one is Jareth from The Labyrinth.
And now here's the thing. I have not seen
You
The
have not
Labyrinth.
seen The Labyrinth?
No.
You have not? Okay.
I've not seen The Labyrinth.
Okay.
So
Based off of vibes alone.
he kind of looks like my dog Momo, which I like.
Stop.
And I know that this is David Bowie.
Okay.
And there's a star man. I'm gonna give him B.
I think
for
B-
Bowie.
Yeah, B is probably a good place for Jareth, honestly.
Is he problematic?
He is a little problematic.
Wait, isn't the love interest a little girl?
She's not a little girl. She is a teenager, and we can. It never
C for child. C for child.
It never explicitly states how old she is, but she is. She never drives a car, so I'm assuming she's not 16. That is what some people think. But we don't know. She could be 18, and he is a magical goblin king. Technically, he's a goblin. But
Oh. I'm happy with C for child.
I'm kind of okay with that. As much as I love him, and as much of a, I just want to touch his face. He was a very, what is the word that I'm looking for?
Formative? maybe,
Formative man.
in your
Because
life?
he does kidnap her little brother. I'm going to give you a little basic. He
Okay.
kidnaps her baby brother, her little half brother, and he's going to turn him into a goblin. And he says, I will trade you for him if you come and stay at the palace instead. And she's like, no, I'll just go find my baby brother. And she has to go through his whole maze and his labyrinth to get to the castle in order to get there. But he like has this whole dream scene where he like she eats like a poisonous apple that he or something that he gives her, and she goes through this psychedelic dream where she's in the most beautiful ball gown with it. You've seen the ball gown, and he sings to her, and it's amazing. And that was very formative for me as a young girl.
Then he's questionably problematic.
He is questionably problematic.
I do like his outfit.
His outfits are absolutely amazing, and his makeup is kind of stellar. And he does look like Momo, and I love that a lot. Yeah,
Alrighty.
C is good.
We'll leave him C. What's next? Oh, I get to pick
this time.
Oh, wait a damn minute.
This is
What's his name?
It's Jorgen von, or Jorgen? It's Jorgen von.
He's the buff military guy
military fairy from Fairly Odd Parents.
from Fairly Odd Parents.
And
I like that he's a silver fox.
I also like that he's a silver fox and that he's been a silver fox. And he's been like an iconic fairy man. I kind of want to put him at, like, because he's mean. He's a mean fairy man, and he's not nice to the rest of the fairies. So I kind of want to put him
maybe D.
at, like, D.
I'm not into a muscular man.
I am recently, but
But
in the past, I have not been. And that's okay.
he's a D tier fairy.
He's a D tier fairy. We'll say a D tier fairy boyfriend, for sure.
If you were to show him to me and say smash or pass, it would depend on the day.
It would,
But it would be 70% no.
I understand that. That's pretty much how it is for me. I mean, he would end up on a hear me out list, but
He would end up on a hear me out list,
He
but
would-
not mine.
yeah. So I think D is good. I think D works.
I think D
for him.
fits.
I think D is fair.
We need some S tier fairy boyfriends. Stat.
Speaking
Oh,
of, put him at A.
A
We don't
tier.
need to. He is A tier.
No further commentary.
Is needed, but I feel like we just need to take a moment and appreciate how wonderful of a husband Cosmo is, and a father. And he's just.
How many men do you know? Okay, how many men do you know that would carry their child for their wife so that she doesn't have to? Not many.
Not many, but he did.
He did.
He did. This king right here.
Cosmo Kings.
He said yes.
He did. So A tier for Cosmo. That is a great start to the
He
A tier.
is fantastic.
He really is.
I love
And he's
Cosmo.
funny.
There's a reason he's on this list.
There is a reason he's here on this list.
He's here.
And look at those big green eyes.
Look at him and his green hair. Whoever does his
he's-
hair,
He's generous.
he is generous.
Granted
and he's so
wishes.
good with Timmy Turner, and it's
He
great.
is. And with his little baby, what's his name? Poof.
Poof. Yes.
Poof.
I love
Great
Poof.
father.
Great father. Great
These
husband.
qualities are hard to find nowadays.
And he's very fairy. Like, that's the other thing that I feel like we need to
Yes. Look
rank
at the
on,
little
is that he
wings.
is very, like, it's a new type of fairy, but it's still very fairy.
He's
It's very
mischievous.
fairy godmother, which is he's
Yes.
mischievous. He has the green hair. He's got the wand. He's got the wings. It's still giving very fairy.
It's fairy.
It's still giving
I
very
like
fairy.
it.
Which, it's fairy boyfriends, so if they give more fairy, I
This
feel
is
like we
fairy
need to be higher.
husband.
This is fairy husband. Yes.
Okay, who do we got next?
It's
oh,
you
I get
next.
to
And
pick.
if you don't know who they are, that's fine.
Who dis?
That is King Oberon from Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh, that's a good pick.
I know.
Okay. Well, he's a king.
He is a
He's
king.
a homeowner.
He is a homeowner.
So
he
that-
is a little problematic because someone who drugs his wife is a
Yeah.
little problematic to me.
Yeah.
But also,
He's jealous as hell, but
this is also specifically Oberon from the Midsummer Night's Dream movie that has like Stanley Tucci as Puck.
oh.
And watch for that one maybe. And Michelle Pfeiffer as Queen Titania. So this was also a very formative movie.
Oh. is toxic, but he is redeemed at the end, so I'm going to give it C.
I'm going to say C. I think him and Jareth are actually very similar.
They look like
They're vibing.
this is like a bowling league
They're
being built right here.
they're having fun together.
They could have fun together. They'd go to the bar.
Yeah.
So I think that's totally fair. Pull another one. Another one.
Okay.
Can you put in a DJ Khaled gif?
Okay. Have you heard of or seen A Court of Thorns, or like read A Court of Thorns and Roses?
I am familiar.
You're familiar. This is Tamlin. We're putting him straight to F, if not off the board.
F tier.
Yeah, I had to come with some bad ones. I had to. Tamlin, we love it. If you are going off of the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, he's going to be higher. Spoiler alert for A Court of Thorns and Roses. If you have not read the second book, stop watching for a second. But he basically, but look at him. See where you would, based on vibes and just what I just said, where would you place him?
He's got the Legolas effect. So I would probably put him at a B off of looks. But if he sucks, F.
He does lock the female main character in her room and basically refuses to let her out of the castle. And he's also misogynistic and
F. I was like, when you were like, he locks her in her room, I was like, and?
no, like she wants to go help him and actually be the queen, like of his like fairy court that he has and like actually help him. And he's like, no, there's no such thing as like a high lady because he's high lord of the spring court.
Yeah.
He's like, there's no such thing as a high lady.
F.
And
F.
he's kind of an asshole. And then he fully betrays her and like her sisters and brings her sisters to the bad guy where then they are forced to become like fae and they don't want to and they're like forced in a cauldron. We don't like Tamlin.
Okay. F
He,
tier.
a lot of people say that he redeems himself. I don't think so. I like at the very last book, they're like, he got redemption. No, he is not redeemed.
No.
In my eyes, he's not
I
redeemed.
love that you came with this. This was like your loaded gun.
This was
you
my
were
loaded
like,
gun.
I want to publicly say, Tamlin,
when
like
I
you
was
came ready.
when I was curating this list, I was like, we need to have some that are lower.
that suck.
And I was also like, I need like mostly main characters of these franchises. Because I'm like, I could put all of the ferrymen from Sarah J. Maas's books. I could do that. We'd be here all day.
We'd be here all day.
We'd be here all day long. But he is a main character, a male main character in the first book. So he counted on this list and I was like, and he can be on the bottom. And even if he is alone on the bottom, I'm okay with that. He can be alone forever and I'm
Lock
okay
him
with
in the
it.
bottom tier.
Lock him in the bottom tier.
Okay,
But he does have a Legolas effect, and that is true.
He does have the Legolas effect.
And I will also say this. He is also on a Hear Me Out cake that I did, because as much as I hate him, am I allowed to swear? How much swearing am I allowed to do?
If you say something really bad, we'll censor it.
Okay. Hating is a thing.
Oh.
And it's not a bad thing all the time. So he is on a Hear Me Out cake that I did do.
Oh.
I will say that.
You know, sometimes that's the vibe.
Sometimes that's the vibe. All right.
Okay.
Next one.
Next one.
Let's do this one. Okay. This is another Sarah J. Maas.
Okay.
This is Rowan Whitethorn. That is his name, Rowan Whitethorn.
Okay. Let me see him.
And you can look at him.
He's got like some spooky stuff.
Yes.
On his face, which tells me that this gives enemies to lovers type of beat.
A little bit.
A little bit. He's handsome, but he seems mischievous. I'm going to put him at B tier. Also, the boyfriends will be overlapping.
And
They're
that's
friends.
okay. We can also like move
Space
them,
them
in, like, a line if
out.
we need to.
Yeah.
Because there's not a huge ton of them.
There's not a ton, but
we won't let him
so where would
cover.
you put him based on not just vibes, your educated opinion?
Okay. I am a little bit biased because Throne of Glass is my favorite Sarah J. Maas novel.
Okay.
And book series. And it is just my favorite book series of all time. And
So you're
I
attached.
love Rowan so much.
Okay.
However, I did say at the beginning of this that I do have some hot takes. And we were going off of Cosmo is very fairy. Mm-hmm. Oberon technically is also very fairy, and he might be up to B because of that for me, if I had to switch things.
Okay.
Sarah J. Maas did not write fairy men. Sarah J. Maas took J.R.R. Tolkien's elves, and she made them buff and horny. That's what she did. So, and that is the hottest take that I will give on this.
That's not really a fairy.
It's not fairy. She can
It's
call
an
them
elf.
fae all that she wants. This is a J.R.R. Tolkien elf that she made buff and horny. Like,
That's
my...
great.
That's fair. It's just, they
Clearly
have
we like
created
it.
a new fairy, like, what is a fairy?
New
and
fairy
what-
definition.
Yes, a new fairy definition. And we
Okay.
also have Jareth on here, and he's not even a fairy at all. He's a goblin. But that's
That's
why he's at C. But I love Rowan
So he can
much.
stay at B. He's got
Yes.
good energies.
He has good energy. He
Okay.
calls his love Fireheart, and I like that a lot.
Oh.
And it's very cute.
Cute.
And he is very excited to be the queen's consort and not king.
Word.
He's later.
Okay.
He's great. I love Rowan. But yes, I think B is probably a good place for him.
Okay. There are some A tiers. We're going off of the Cosmo standard.
Yes, the Cosmo standard is like,
It's
except
high.
for there is one coming up that will be immediately A tier for me, and
Okay.
for very different reasons than Cosmo is A tier.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me see.
That is Lord Elrond from Lord of the Rings. Again, very adjacent because if we count these guys as fairies, then the J.R.R. Tolkien elves also count as fairies.
He's daddy,
He is in
He
just
is-
such a good way.
but the receding hairline. Yeah. You're telling me they don't have
I think-
Turkish hair transplants?
Also, I just think that this
Yes.
he belongs in this row.
Yeah, and this is no hate.
This is no hate.
This
to
is no
Lord
hate
Elrond.
on the slightly older gentleman
yes.
in the world. It's let's just pull another one. We don't need to talk.
We don't need to
Wh-
talk. This is the bowling
sensible.
league. And
They
this
are on a
makes
bowling
sense.
league. And you know what? I would see them at the bowling alley and I'd be like, that's kind of a group of DILFs.
Exactly. They're a
group
hot
of
bowling
DILFs.
league.
So
That's what I like.
they're a hot bowling league for sure. But they're still a bowling
Well,
league.
they're still
bowling.
a sea bowling league. Okay. Prince Carlos from Barbie Mariposa.
Let me see this. It's been a long time.
I understand. It was a long time for me too.
B tier?
I think B makes sense. B for Barbie.
B for Barbie.
B for Barbie.
I would like a different haircut.
Same. He gives when I was printing these out at my mother's house. She was like, "He's not even cute. Why are you having him on this list? He's not even that cute." And I said, "Well, he's fine.
He's fine.
He needs a different hairstyle."
Like, this looks like every girl I went to high school with, their husband that I see on Instagram, they all look like this. And that's not a bad thing. It's just like a very like normal, kind dude look.
Yes.
He works in finance.
He works in finance.
But,
he is
you
a
know,
prince.
It's fine.
It's fine. He belongs here. Again, he and Rowan can hang out. They're very different people. This is actually something I would like to see in real life.
Put them in the same
Put them in
room.
the same room.
A Barbie fairy and a Sarah J. Maas fairy.
Yes. Also, very fun thing. Rowan does not have wings, so he does have in the Throne of Glass world. The Fae usually or sometimes have like an animal form that they can turn into, and
Okay.
his is a falcon.
Oh.
So he does kind of have wings, but
not
really.
traditional.
Yes.
Okay.
Also. Yes.
Okay. All right, who's next?
Who's next? Okay. Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae. You have to say it like that because that is how he is introduced in the Crescent City series by
another
Sarah J. Maas.
Maas?
This is, yes. So we have, sorry, I just touched that. So we have the three Sarah J. Maas novels. Yes. We have the three Sarah J. Maas novels. We have Throne of Glass, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and Crescent City. Those are all of her like fairy books. Tell me your vibes.
Is that hateful?
It is.
Are the
not-
girlies going to kill me
They
dead?
probably are. There is a whole TikTok sound where it like has like a background noise, like a background song, and it's just the audiobook like
Introducing
Rune
him.
Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae.
Valbar and Faye or whatever it is, where they love him. He's got a
I'm
shaved
glad
head.
they
He's a
love
punk
him.
man. He's got earrings all over his fairy elf ears.
Why I'm putting him at D tier is he looks like he would ask me if I was wearing a band shirt to name 5 songs. Sorry.
That's the thing, is he totally
He would.
At least I think so. Again, Book Talk girlies are gonna come after me.
Book talk girlies
Yeah.
in the comments.
I'm not a Crescent City girl. I have read the first book and half of the second book, and then I stopped because I got bored. Again, they're gonna come after me, but that's okay. It's okay.
You can have
We're all
your
friends
opinion.
here. We can have your opinion.
How about you make your own video and we'll
Yes.
watch it and I'll tell you that you're
Yes.
wrong about him because
Yeah, he
No.
belongs here next to him, and I think that they'd be friends too. So it's okay.
it's okay. But with that, we have more to go, don't we?
We have 9 more on this list.
And for us, it'll just be a minute. But for you at home, you're going to have to wait till next week to see the next 10 fairies we'll discuss. But I'm so glad to have you here, Sophia. Where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Sophia is Dunn, Dunn. Thank you. My middle name's Isabella, and so it just works.
It just works.
Sophia is Dunn. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
I'm very happy I came up with it.
And I'm Janie from Role Models. And if you are looking for more silly, girly fantasy content like this, you can find our Role Models D&D series on the same page in the meantime.
Which I am on that too, so
You're in
go
that
find me
too.
there.
So we'll see you next week.